Everybody's talking about homeschooling right now, trying to figure out what they're gonna do. I've been homeschooling for 6 years now. I have 6 children. I have 4 who are in homeschool. I'm on my 4th first grader. So in this video, I'm just gonna talk about how to get started homeschooling, just answer some questions that a lot of my friends have been asking me so that you can also have that information. My name's Joy Cherick, and this is my channel where I do videos about Charlotte Mason homeschooling, nature study, and family life. So let's talk about where to start if you're just out the gate getting started homeschooling. The best place to start really is with your chore system and your family routines. Looking at how much sleep people need at night, looking at where the messes are, looking at where your own margin is and frustration. I've even just had to focus on, okay, what time of day do I have the most energy that I can actually do this, and make sure that I'm holding people accountable and have the margin to not be frustrated with you. Just am able to be my best so that I can help them also succeed. Another area that really needs to be focused on, especially for modern mamas, is the meal system. So for my first, 5 years of marriage, 6 years of marriage, a long time, I really would say these words: I do not like cooking. I don't know how to cook. I don't like it. I don't want to learn. And a lot changed when I was pregnant with my 4th kid, and it was a little bit of a surprise. And I was always surprised that people were hungry at regular intervals throughout the day. And you're gonna laugh, but it's true. I was really I always felt behind, and I really wasn't sure how to feed people. Now, I grew up in a family with 2 children, and I went to public school, and both my parents worked. So this has been a huge learning curve for me to figure out how to manage a home, and also how to love managing a home. I really, really love it. I really have been able to pour my creativity into my home, and also my parenting, and also my homeschool. I know that it is hard when you're first starting out because, again, I went to public school, so I was really trained and taught and told that the work that I was going to do was outside of the home, and that the things that happened at home were really not that valuable. So I see that that was not the right paradigm to be living in. And I want my children to have a healthy, thriving place that they can grow up in. And it's very similar to a garden, right? If you have good soil in your garden, then your plants will flourish. And if you have really rocky, pebbly, sandy soil, then they're really not able to get to their full potential. So having laundry systems in place, having chore systems in place, being able to feed your family really is the first place to start. So let's then get into the academics. So when you're starting homeschooling, if you can focus on reading, writing, and math, and just conquer those areas and get those systems flowing, then you can add additional things here and there. Now, I really recommend for those who are Christian to really focus on getting a family devotion going each day, whether it's at breakfast, whether it's at dinner, and then adding in the reading, writing, and math, because that really sets the tone for your family, just culture. So let's talk about reading. So if you're talking about phonics, then you really do want to have a time set aside where you're working with that student. But if you have an older student who's reading independently, what I do is I assign 2 books a day for my older students. So that's 4th grade and 5th grade and up will get at least 2 books. So my oldest is a 5th grader. So I don't know, there may be more as you get older. And then my emerging readers and my one who's emerging independent, my phonics first grader sits down and has a phonics lesson with me. My 2nd grader who's reading more independently gets 1 book assigned. So when we're talking about reading, we want to look at a few things. We want to look at history. We want to look at biographies. I really, really love the Ambleside Online book list. So you can look at your student And really you can look ahead or below what grade level they're typically in. So like if you have a third grader, you can look up to the fourth grade, the year 4, you can look at the year 3, of course, and then also look down at the year 2. And that sometimes you can pull from that list, and that way it could kind of help you. Okay, so writing. Writing doesn't have to be complicated, and you don't need a giant curriculum being all crazy. And also you don't have to be a fabulous, published author in order to teach your child how to write. For these purposes, let's just talk about narration. So you want to start teaching your child how to compose orally. That's called oral narration, where you read them a story when they're little and they tell you back what they heard. And that grows into written narration, where they are simply writing down what they just read or what you read to them. And this is really fun. So what I do is my first grader draws a picture, my second grader draws a smaller picture and writes one sentence, and he will ask for help with spelling, and I will always tell him how to spell a word. Sometimes I'll say, hey buddy, can you look that up in your book that you just read? My fourth grader will write 5 sentences, and my fifth grader needs to write a whole page. So we kind of have a progression going. I will link to a video where I explain that progression in a little bit more depth. All right, now it moves me over to math. So for my younger students, I've used Math Mammoth to get me going. Kate's Homeschool Math Help has a really awesome review section. She's written a lot of stuff for the Well-Trained Mind series, and she was a public school math teacher, and she has brought a lot of really cool practices to light. So I will link over to her website where you can kind of figure out what's best for you. What is working now for us, and I made a review of Beast Academy Online. And Beast Academy Online is 2nd grade through 5th grade. And there is an online portion, and then also they have workbooks. There's a guide book that is a comic book instruction book, essentially. Like all the instruction and learning the concepts is in a comic book format. Genius. And then the workbook is like practice. What we found was the workbooks didn't give us enough reps when students were struggling with a concept. So when we moved over to the Beast Academy Online learning, it has changed our homeschool for the better. And why is because there is a instructor, and he has videos, and the kids can watch the video, and then if I don't understand, I can sit with them, and we're looking together at something going, we don't know how to solve this problem. Like, we're on a team. Let's figure this out. And it's not me getting frustrated trying to explain a concept to them, because y'all, I'm a word person. I'm not a math person. So that has been really fun to see my kids go from, I am pulling their teeth out trying to just get them to do one math problem, to my kids come in and, Mom, can I do Beast Academy right now? I want to do it now. So I've moved over to a kind of a computer lab structure where it's like, okay, at 11 o'clock, we're going to do 30 minutes of Beast Academy. You have to wait until then. If you get all your work done in the morning, then you have free time, and then you can come back for that. Because otherwise I was finding I wasn't able to keep track of how much time each student was spending, and then sometimes they would go off and do other parts of Beast Academy that I just didn't want them to be on. So I restrict what they do, but then also I have that time period where I'm sitting in there with them and I can be available for questions. So that is all. Reading, writing, math, and you got this. It is so much fun. We can start teaching your child. And not just, you're not teaching them, you're leading them into the world. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.